All right, guys, so let's go into how do we use this template here that you guys have access to. Um, so the first thing, so you're going to get access to two different things. One of the things you're going to get access to is the example. So there's a newsletter template example here. So you can go in and this is exactly how I would have created this newsletter that goes out. So you can see here we've got part one, we've got the personalization token. This is where we tell a story. Okay, so this is part one here. So last week was the Boston Marathon. Kind of talking about what I've got going on, maybe what we see in the clinic, and we've got our soft call to action here, which is book your free 15-minute phone consultation. That's perfect. Here, next part we get into is like, here's what we found interesting this week. So you can see we've got the two columns set up here. I'll kind of go over what that and how that works afterwards. But we're highlighting one of our Instagram posts here because we want people to continue to know, like, and trust us. And we want to repurpose the content that we're putting together. So we've got our call to action button that will take us to Instagram. We're also adding a podcast clip in here. This is from Peter Attia. It's talking about VO2 Max, which is relevant because this newsletter is coming after the Boston Marathon. People are getting back into running. VO2 Max is obviously a big part of running. So this all kind of jives together and makes sense here. Now we get into some cool things we've got going on with Ripple and in Boston. So this is where I'm going to highlight what we've got going on, maybe some promotions, some events that we're doing, and what's actually going on in Boston as well, because we want to add a little bit of fun to this newsletter as well, because we want people to continue reading it, to be honest with you. So we're highlighting, we've got this free injury screen. We're teaming up with our friends over at Epoch, South End Community, et cetera, et cetera. Here would be the link. Here's the little image that we have there so people could sign up for that. Here we're talking about, this is going to be a more Boston specific one. So Trillium in the Commons is open. This is going to be right next to our clinic. And again, we're just kind of highlighting, hey, we're all about helping people get out of pain, improve their fitness, and living their healthiest lives. And sometimes we think that includes beer. So again, just trying to make this fun, get people out and about, and just kind of highlight some of the fun things that we're doing as a team as well. Then the last thing, we're highlighting a deal here. We've got a run performance deal going on. This is important here. We've got the couple bullet points that talk about high level. Here's exactly what we've got going on. This is just very relevant to the current state of when this email was sent out, which is super important to remember. We've got the learn more from us. So we've got the, follow us on Instagram. Any questions, send us an email. Would you rather text us? Here's our email. This is something that we just keep in there every single week. Doesn't change. Same exact thing. And then, we've got a softer call to action at the end here. If now's the right time, here's the link to book your free 15-minute phone call. So this is a really good example of what these newsletters should look like. If you go over to the next one here, this is going to be your template, all right? So depending on what email provider you guys are using, this is what you're going to use to build this email template that you have, okay? And it's going to break it down to different parts. So part one, we're going to tell a story. We're going to use 3 to 5 paragraphs to engage the reader, right? Like you talk. This should be fun. This shouldn't be, super stuffy. It should, just kind of talk about what's going on currently, all right? You're going to have a softer call to action at the end. Maybe you're going to push them to a discovery call, but we really don't want to push a sale, especially in this, because this should be going out weekly. Part two is we're going to educate and give tips with content. So we're going to highlight our own accounts. We want to build trust. We want people to hear us talking as much as possible. That is super, super, super important. And then we're going to educate with other information. Again, I kind of put here, I think we forget, we're in this stuff all day long. So even the most elementary thing about fitness for us is probably super high level for whoever's reading this. So, we can put pretty much anything in these parts. Part 3, we're highlighting our community offers, events that we've got going on. So again, we have our event. We always want to highlight. We want to get people to go to our stuff, even if it's a couple months in advance. That's something you just keep in there. Totally fine. We're talking about what's going on in the community. Maybe you took an awesome fitness class. Maybe it's a new restaurant. Maybe there's a new coffee shop. Whatever you've got going on there. Highlight people here. then maybe you've got a deal going on and you can slide that in there as well. Part 4, again, we just talked about this, but how can people learn more? This is something that you can just copy and paste every single week. Keep it really easy. Maybe you want to change up a couple little things each time, but not a huge deal if not. And then we've got, our softer call to action here, okay? So we're pushing people towards booking a free 15-minute phone call. We're not talking about this crazy deal or anything or some sort of scarcity or anything like that. You just want to push people to take the next step. Let them know, make it very known what that next step is. So this is going to be the template. Again, depending on what your email provider is, you can copy this, you can paste it in there, you can build out your own blocks if you need to. If any of you guys are using HubSpot, what you can do, and I'm happy to send over to you if you are using HubSpot, is you can create a template here, all right? So you can see here, this is the template that we have, and I just clone this every week and update the different parts of it, all right? So I've got my story, so I'll rewrite this every single week. Here's what we found interesting. I'm obviously going to keep that. We're going to, highlight an Instagram post. We're going to highlight another post that we found interesting. And again, I've got this swipe file here. There's just everything that I find interesting ongoing lives in there. I go to this swipe file of all the, saved Instagram posts that I have, and I just pull from them each time. So this goes really, really quick. Cool things going on at Ripple and in Boston. Again, maybe you've got an event coming up, highlight what's going on in the community, highlight your quarterly deal. You can mix and match here. You can have 2 or 3. This is just kind of highlighting what's going on in and around the area in the next couple months. Learn from us. Again, I'm copy and pasting this each time. This text here, I'm changing this text up a little bit. It'll probably relate to the story that I told up at the beginning here. But for the most part, it's going to be the same thing. And all of these buttons are, kind of leading to our, book a discovery call page. So again, using this template here takes me no more than 10 minutes to recreate this weekly email. Again, this is why I put this course together, because it is so important to send a weekly email, and it's really not that hard. But I think people overcomplicate it, and hopefully this makes it easy.